Terry. I'm from Yes Prep Southwest. My starter project was a burglar alarm kit, and pretty much how it works is I'm getting a 9-volt battery a 9-volt battery to power an LED and a speaker that that go off when the read switch is finally connected. So the way it works is the 9-volt battery powers the whole board, right? And there's a 555 timer that goes that times how like often and the speed of the LED. So 555 timer pretty much dictates how fast the LED will blink on and off, right? So there are 2 transistors here to power the speaker, and the speaker is a heavier load than the LED. That's why there are 2 transistors there to amplify the power that's needed to supply for the power that's needed for the speaker. And when the read switch is closed, that's when the magnet is away. So it completes the circuit. So when I disconnect this, it'll make a sound, and it won't turn off until I turn it off, and it won't turn off until I disconnect it from the 9-volt battery. So my intensive project is electromagnetic floater. It was started out. I got the stand for the electromagnet, and I'm having some problems I had some problems with getting a magnet to float, but I do have the electromagnet working, so that's not a problem. Solutions. I've tried putting one electromagnet at the top and another electromagnet at the bottom, and I've been trying to get the magnet to both electromagnets to repel one side of the magnet that I'm putting in between them, so it'll balance out. But yeah, steps. That's pretty much it. Questions?
You know when you move that white part away to make the alarm, can't you just move it in front of it to make it stop? Like making it stop?
No, it just continues on without okay, here's the reed switch, right? And then the reed switch, when the magnet is when the reed switch is close to the magnet, it's like this, right? So it's not completing the circuit. That's what causes it not to go off when you have the magnet right there. So once you move the magnet away, the reed switch will close, and that once it gets that contact, it'll go off. It'll cause the LED to flash and the speaker to be loud. So it just does that. I try to put it back, it won't come back. So.
Hi, my name's Cindy, and my starter project was making the pencil that can make music when you write. So to do this, I connected all the parts that need to go on the circuit board, such as the resistors, the battery supply, obviously, and the TLC, this chip, yeah, and the transistors, and obviously the speaker. So with this, it helps power it, and then like the copper wire around it, when your body like acts as a sensor, so like when you touch it, it'll be able to like complete this circuit and then it'll be able to produce sound, right? So like when you draw or like write, like a thick amount of graphite onto paper, and you place your finger on it when you draw, like it'll create like different sounds. So, and then my intensive project was the oh yeah, the light display with the LEDs. So I currently got it to work with I currently got to test it with one LED. So and it got to produce a lot of colors, and I got to program it too. And yeah, I have trouble with the transistor part, so like how to connect it along with the transistors. Cause so far I only have it with the resistors, LED, on the breadboard connected to the Arduino, and yeah.
Thank you. You read this
any
project?
questions?
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that's good.
You want to talk about that too?
I did. Wait, the
Did I?
milestone?
No, did I?
That's
That's
oh
what she was just talking about.
yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Oh yeah, the LED. It's like it's an RGB LED. So instead of 2 pins, it actually has 4, and each one it's contained of 3 LEDs, and also has another one which is the power supply. So each one has to connect to the other pins of the resistors in order for it to complete the circuit. And then I also, to connect the breadboard to the Arduino, I connected it with other wires to connect it to the 5 voltage on the Arduino.
Well done. Any questions for Cindy? What's an RGB LED stand for?
RGB LED stands for red, green, blue, yeah, and light emitting diode.
What's a transistor?
Transistor. Oh, it's like it's a semiconductor that helps. I have it.
It's okay.
No, I looked it up.
Most people don't know what transistors are.
No,
I forgive you temporarily. You want to come back and look it up?
No, it's on there. Let's see. It's there are different kinds. It's MP, and PNC. Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's a switch that controls the current flow. And it has 3 parts to it: a collector, emitter, and a base. And it has like the NPN part is like the impurity, so negative, negative and positive. And so you can't put negative and negative together, so you have to put either the opposite, so negative, positive, negative, or positive, negative, positive. And
That's good. Look how smart you sound.
okay, thank you, nice.
I think that's correct. Now you're excited. Now that I can have another good.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead now. Sure. You want to first? Yeah.
If there's no volunteer,
The same thing.
if there's no volunteer, then whoever went last can pick. You're now my favorite person. I don't know what such a distinction does for you though, but it wouldn't read
So
much.
my name's Hernan, and for the starter project, I worked on the what's it called, the the parking radar kit. And so what it does is that you can connect this to your car, and these 2 sensors here, they send ultrasonic waves. And what they do is that as soon as they send them, whenever it comes back and hits an object, it uses the speed of sound to detect how far the object is. And therefore, at a set distance that you put it at, it could be 5 inches or things like that, wherever you want it to be. As you're backing up, it sends those ultrasonic waves, and as soon as it gets to the mark point that you set it at, this buzzer will sound really loud to tell you that you are approaching, you're about to hit something. And you can't, it's not limited to just your car. One thing I'm planning to do on is to eventually mount it on the tank in case anything wants to hit it or in case it's about to bump into anything. I'm alerted. And so that was the starter project. The intensive project is the RC tank. And so far I've gotten what I like to call the skeleton, the gearbox, and the tracks on the tank. And I've also programmed the Arduino to work with the controller. And the real trouble with that is that finding out where the pins go, but one of the things that had it was the code. In the code, it helped me find out exactly what pins to use, and that was pins 10 through 13. And it tells you like detailed where to put it. And other than that, I ran into a situation where it wouldn't show up in the what's it called, the something monitor. Serial monitor to show that the controller is actually working. But you change, make the what's that called again? The speeds of both the rate at which the Arduino is going and the rate at which the serial monitor is reading it, and then you actually see things going on. And so far, the next steps would be to actually now program the gearbox, which is what I'm working on, which is, I guess, a different challenge from the actual controller. So that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, any questions?
So my name is Daniel Alvarez, and today I'm going to be explaining my starter project. So my starter project was a laser target kit. It is basically containing 9 LED lights, 1 trigger, and 1 off switch, on and off switch, and it has a power cord that goes to the 9-volt battery. And there's also two transistors that each have 5 volts. So having to do with this, each of them cancel the 9 volts, so there could be enough power to power each one. So as you can see, so there's 2 on switch. There's on 1 and on 2. So in on 1, only 8 LED lights are on, except 1. So having to do with this, if you move the trigger all the way to the right, you will see that they were going to be off. But I have the CDS cell in the middle, which is a light sensor, which when I point the laser out, it will have all the lights back on, as you can see. You can just play around with the light sensor. Now if I go to on 2, remember the one that was off, it's now on. So if I still have the laser, it's the same thing. So that's the same thing as laser 1. Okay. Now, my intensive project is the same thing as Hernan's, but I'm doing a different part of the gearbox. So what I started so far, the main purpose of this is starting from the Arduino to the dual motor to the gearbox. That's the main thing right now. And I've got it to power, but now I'm starting to have trouble with the wires because they're not sending enough electricity or current to power the gearbox. Or is it because I tried to get on the controller, which I tried to actually install, but then I got back to the gearbox and then it started malfunctioning. Some problems that I had is actually finding out the pins, but as soon as I saw the codes for each, like all of these, like average ground, VIN, all the power sources, I actually found it more easier than I thought it would be. And yeah.
Questions? Someone's got to have questions. Someone's got to step up and ask questions.
What?
Does your laser, would it work if it wasn't laser, if it was just like a regular light?
Yeah. It's basically a light sensor, yeah. Any more questions? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Who's next? Okay. Emmanuel?
You about to knock out number 1 on your to-do list?
So my name's Emmanuel, and for my starter project, I did the Minty Boost backup. So pretty much what it is I can't really take it out anymore, but it's two 1.5 volt batteries that are put into into the circuit, and it's powered by the LT1302 chip. And so what it does is it uses the two 1.5 volt batteries, which add up to 3 volts, and goes into a circuit to at the end produce 5 volts to charge up your phone or any kind of like Android or iOS device. Right now in my intensive project, I'm working on trying to get the Arduino to program to be able to recognize the keypads for the pinouts. One of the troubles or problems that I'm having is that for some reason my computer doesn't want to load the Arduino program. I've restarted it, reinstalled it, downloaded a newer version, even an older version, it still doesn't want to work. So I have to find out what the problem is, if it's probably my computer. And also the pinouts, because the guy, he built the project from scratch, so he built the Arduino completely. He didn't buy one, so I have to figure out exactly where I do actually have to start building and assembly.
Gotcha. If you think it's your computer, how would you get around that problem?
I have another laptop. We don't really use it that much though, because it's more for like the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll see if maybe I can try to keep my hands on.
Okay, so you can try that at home. Okay, do you think maybe because he built his own Arduino that could be the issue? It's 2 different devices.
Well, I looked at the pinouts, and their pinouts are different, but when I looked at the schematics, I found out which pinout represents what pin for like the Arduino Leonardo, so I matched them up, and I pinned them together and everything. But yeah.
Have you thought about asking the guy who built it?
No, because it's just like on a public website.
Is his contact info there? You sure?
Yeah, it just says like by who it's made. That's it.
Let's look at that later. Maybe we can find his info.
That's not, that I can tell you right now, that's definitely not what the issues he has. He's having issues with the software like loading on his computer at all. That's definitely not his problem.
Okay.
We don't want to ask that right now.
Any other questions? Thank you.
My name is Juan, and for my starter project, I decided to do the Minty Boost. And so how this works, we have 2 AA batteries that each produce 1.5 volts each, which gives us a total of 3 volts. And in order to power our USB device, we need a total of 5 volts. So how this works is we have a LTI1302 chip, which basically sucks up most of the current, and then we have a diode to give us the extra current boost we need for the 5 volts. And so how this works is when it's not plugged into the USB device, the current is basically at 5, but it tries to go down, but the dial keeps it, it tries to keep it at 5 volts. And when it's connected to the USB device, it stays at 5 volts constantly. And for my intensive project, I decided to do the voice control robot, and so far on it, I'm able to talk to my Arduino, but it doesn't do what I tell it to.
It's like your very own kid.
And that's it.
So what's next on your voice controlled robot?
Well, I'm starting off small, so I'm trying to turn the LED on and off by telling it to.
Yeah. What happens when you tell it to?
Yeah, well, it knows its name, but.
You're raising a puppy. So what are you gonna do to try to fix that?
Oh, I'm trying to move. Like it gave me the code, and I'm trying to switch it up so it could read it better. Cause at first it didn't even know its name, and I changed a little bit on there, and well, now it knows its name. So I gotta move it a little more so it can do what I tell it to.
Yeah, you gotta potty train that thing.
Any questions? Terry?
How does it know which language you're speaking?
Oh, well. I had to program my voice into it.
Oh.
So, yeah, I had to repeat what I'm saying like multiple times. Then if somebody else says it, it's gonna hear it and it's gonna do it. So if I were to program it right now I'm programming it in English with a simple command of LED on and off. Since I already spoke to it, it knows what it means, but it won't do it. And same if I try to do it for Spanish, I'll say it in Spanish. It'll know what it means, but it won't do it. So I have to fix that.
That'd be so cool if you have like a robot that understood English and Spanish. That'd be impressive.
That's on his goal list.
That's my
That's
goal.
awesome. That'd be amazing.
Maybe 3 languages after that.
And like your own special made up language.
Well, so what's the language that they do in the instructions?
Thai.
Yeah, the guy does something weird. Yeah.
Like your special like personal language no one else can understand.
I'm gonna do French and Japanese just to mess with it. Make me suffer, I'm gonna make it suffer. Okay. Any more questions?
All right.
You have your bulletproof vest back.
So, hi. For my starter project, I did a voice changer kit. So how it works is I have this hooked up to a 9-volt battery, and the power travels throughout the board. So when I speak into the microphone, it turns into a signal that has to travel throughout the board and out the speaker. So, try it. So, hello. And then for my main project, I'm doing a time-lapse throwy. And so I am programming it to take time-lapse pictures and then compile them into a video. So one of the issues I've been having with my throwy is that it's getting the wires onto this, because like they're so small and it's been frustrating for me to get them on there. And so now that I have these on there, I need to hook these up to a board so that I can figure out how this thing works.
Questions?
So when you're done with your projects, what are you planning on using it
Taking time-lapse videos.
for?
What could you do when you're done to modify it?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay. Cool.
There
cable the video from that to a computer or some other place?
It comes with a micro USB cable.
How are you gonna take the pictures? How are you gonna take the picture with that thing?
I'm gonna program well, it can already take pictures, but I'm gonna put a chip on here, so that it can take photos every couple of seconds and then put them into a video.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Omar.
It kind of filters. Okay. My name is Deja, and this is my starter project. It's a light-seeking robot, and what it does is that it uses the LEDs here to sense light around it and moves towards it. And so yeah, it's gonna like keep moving forward because like obviously there's light around, but like no, if you change the sensitivity. Yeah, it'll stop. If you change the sensitivity, it'll stop moving in the darkness. And for my intensive project, I'm making a solar powered MP3 player with speaker. Oh. Yeah. This is it right here. And the troubles I've been having so far is the SketchUp model, because at first I didn't have accurate drawing, like accurate dimensions, so I had to redo it. And then I had to do, like, make it as detailed as possible. And some parts, like on the solar panel, these screws right here, I had to make the diameter accurate and see what type of bolts or nuts it uses. And that was kind of hard for me because it's so small. And right now, since I'm done on the model, I'm on a circuit part, and I'm trying to, like, I connected the solar panel to the USB part so it can charge, and the next thing I'm going to see is if it's actually charging and not just sitting. Yeah.
When you finish and it works, what are you gonna do?
I go outside a lot, and my dad turns his car on and just blasts the speakers and just sits there. So instead of him like wasting his battery on his car, which he don't need to do, I'm gonna just take this out, can sit outside, listen to music.
You're a good daughter.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Better
maybe
than one's baby. What are you gonna do to modify it when you're done?
modify.
So you finish the project, it works. What can you do to improve it or make it better at the end?
Not sure.
Something to think about. Other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Teray, and I actually did 3 starter projects instead of 1 starter and 1 main project. So the first one I did was the Draudio, and like Sydney explained earlier, it's basically like the graphite. When you push it to paper, it will start making the noises, and the copper around it helps you with. It's like the second-hand sensor. The second-hand sensor. The first-hand sensor is your finger. And it'll make the different noises, even if you touch it right here. So you don't necessarily have to touch it to the paper, which I've learned. The second project I did was a TV Big On. This was the hardest project for me because it took me like 2 to 3 days and it still wouldn't work. So basically it has all the LED lights and then the IC capacitor, and then you just push the button and you can't see it because you can't see these in light. So you have to see it like in a dark space, and then it would just turn the TV off. And it's powered on 2 AA batteries. Lastly, my favorite one, this is like a light organ. So once you plug it up, different lights show, and you can have like different sounds or music playing. And these two right here, they're like the IPs. You can change the pattern it makes and how fast it moves. That's it.
Any questions?
For the TV be off thing, it's like it works on any TV.
Yeah.
So it just turns the TV off, doesn't turn it back on?
No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
Hey, my name is Jose, and for my startup project, I did a microphone color, and like the same as she did. And what it does is like it moves towards light, or like it moves around the light, and like it has 2 LDR sensors, and like when the light hits it, it like moves around and stuff, and it has 3 different things that you could one is for changing the speed, and the other 2 are for changing the sensitivity of the light. And another thing is is powered by 2 AAA batteries, and yeah, and like when you turn it on, it just moves around. Like, and like when you block it, the light turns off or stuff like that. So once you block one, the motor stops and the other one continues. And for my main project, I'm doing a robotic arm, and this is my structure. This is gonna be the part where I'm gonna put my, there it is. And I'm planning on putting this on this motor here, so like move the arm by itself. And I'm having problems right now with programming the Arduino, but I got it done, and I'm good. I'm just sketching the how I'm gonna put the motors. So move, because I have limited amount of space, and yeah. Any questions? Yes, sir.
How will you connect the motor to the?
Oh, I'm gonna have. Oh, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, how I'm gonna put it to like move it around. Yeah.
So how will you control the robot arm?
Oh, with an Arduino thing. So I'm gonna control it by my computer. Yes.
So is the Arduino wireless or is it programmed?
I think I just have to program it.
Other questions? All right, thank you.
My name is Christian, and for my startup project, I did a electroluminescent wire, which is also called the EO wire. But I didn't like make the wire. I just like had to make a connection from the battery to the wire so that the battery could light it up. But you can't really like see it. And then for my intensive project, I'm doing a micro wind turbine, and I haven't started making it, but I just finished like picking the design and ordering all my parts today. and a problem that I had was like making design, like how I was gonna make it. But I did that, and so I ordered the parts today. And the next steps that I have to do are making the wind turbine, and then like figuring out what I'm gonna power it with.